It's that time of the year again, where I rank every case I've seen for a specific device. This year with the Samsung Fold 6. And even though the selection of cases is limited, relatively speaking, there is still a lot to go over. So let's start right away. UAG is first up with their Civilian series. This case solved that two-piece design with a retractable piece in the middle made from PU leather, which works perfect. It's also a solution for the unprotected hinge, since now it's covered for at least 80%. This case still has two strips of stickers though, which is only needed on the front in my opinion. On the backplate, it's mostly to decrease the play it has when moving the case from side to side. One big flaw seems to be that it's not compatible with any other screen protector, as I currently have the TR Easy Fit on there from Spigen, and that gives issues on the corner as you can see. Now UAG also has their own screen protector, so it shouldn't be much of an issue if you really want a screen protector, but it's something you should know beforehand. Now I would have loved to see a little more of an edge towards the thumb fingerprint sensor, because it feels as if it's not really accessible the way it used to be. But from my testing, it works just fine. It's only feeling like it isn't. The camera bump is completely flat and makes use of the thickness on the backplate to give the lenses their protection. Now, as far as the overall comfort goes, this case feels like a very slim case, which is awesome. A tier. They also have the Plio and the Plio Pro. The only difference here is that MagSafe aspect. It makes use of a little more stickers though, since it's two pieces now and definitely needs them too. I always loved the feel of the Plio, that plastic is just so grippy. And yes, they will get smudgy, but it's so easily cleaned, I don't really mind it. Very big front bumper and screen protection, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But here I feel like it's a little too much and it interferes with my ability to comfortably use the Fold 6 front screen, as swiping from the side is a little harder now. I think they opted for this design choice because normally there's a slope towards the backplate when you lay it flat when folded out completely, but now there isn't any because it's all the same height, which also has its own advantages. I also still love the smoked edges, which are part transparent, and makes the white Fold 6 look awesome. One thing this didn't think about, like many other cases I've tested sadly, is that sticker strip goes over the SIM tray, which after a while will stick to it, making it very difficult to remove without damaging the SIM tray. B tier. Ringke is of course back for the Fold 6 too. They have the Fusion and the Fusion Magnetic. This is basically the same story as the Plio and the Plio Pro we just covered. One has MagSafe and the other does not. It's only a $7 difference though, so in this case I would definitely recommend getting the MagSafe version. Magnet strength is also very good on here too, so it's more than usable on car holders as well. It's also a two-piece design turned into one, with this little piece in the middle which connects the two. Very clever thinking, and I'm a big fan of this design as well. It features one big sticker strip on the thin left piece where it's usually located, which is fine since it does need that a little. More than enough front protection, good camera bump on there as well, which will definitely protect the camera lenses when it's dropped. It even features actual buttons and not just a cutout. The buttons are clicky too and you love to see it. Doesn't have much of a slope towards the fingerprint sensor though, but to be honest, it doesn't feel off like some other cases. Good cutout for the USB-C port, and the price is once again so good that I can definitely recommend this one if you want a grippy clear case. A tier. Then there's of course Samsung themselves. The S Pen case is exactly what it says it is. A case made specifically for the slim S Pen, used for the Fold 6. It's pretty comfortable to hold due to that rounding on the back where the S Pen is stored in. Sort of fits in the palm of your hand, which is great. The mechanism for the S Pen itself is not that great, it's pretty finicky actually. Takes too much effort to get it out easily, and it doesn't feel as premium as storing the S Pen on the S24 Ultra. Even though it's a case made by Samsung, it's one of those two-part cases. And because of it, it's full of stickers to hold the front piece. The backplate doesn't have any stickers, but its fit isn't good either. It's too easy to get off, and coming from me, that's saying something. I also love the camera bump design here, which although minimalistic, does the job and looks amazing at it. Very good cutouts at the bottom for the USB-C port, and even the button cutouts are great. Still, no hinge protection here, but that's a very subjective topic, it seems. C tier. They also have the Kindsuit PU leather case. Looks amazing, feels amazing, and as genuine as PU leather is going to get. They really made it as close to leather as possible. They also matched that brown color with a copper metallic-ish color, which looks amazing. A very minimalistic case, so feels thin and as if you don't really have a case on there. The fit is also a little better here, with noticeable clicks to the fit as well, which actually hold with a little pressure applied. I think this is the base level of what is needed. So there's still not a tight fit or anything, but it's better than the previous case for sure. This case also features a very premium feeling suede-like inner, which is definitely different from the competitors, as this feels as premium as real suede. Great job. B tier. Moving on to the clear case, once again a two-piece design and even worse than the ones before it. It 100% needs the stickers. The front would just simply fall off if you're not using the stickers, which is funny because the backside fit is actually really good. Not sure what they are doing here, but these cases feel rushed for sure. The backside has its own issues though and suffers from too much play on the side where the button cutout is located. It's a hard plastic, no silicone was used here, and because of it, it will probably not yellow soon, or take a little while extra. The grip on the back is a step backwards, as I've seen that one with the S23 Ultra, and they ditched that for the S24 Ultra for a much better system. They brought it back with this one though, and I don't like it all that much. The camera bump is once again that same minimalistic one, and here they opted for a silver design, which is nearly flush with the camera and looks amazing. D tier. Now, saving the best for last, the silicone case. Not kidding, the fit here is perfect. Not too tight, but it's still easily detached from the phone. I feel like the only reason you would want to use the stickers here is for that tiny piece on the left side of the small screen, and for a tiny bit of play on the other side. Other than that, the front piece won't get detached by simply using it or breathing in its vicinity. So even without the stickers, this case will hold. Even though they added more on the back because here you have the grip we just talked about, but also a kickstand. The kickstand can be used normally but also angled, which is unusual with the fold cases because normally it's only used angled, so good on them. It feels nice in the hand, has enough grip and still feels like a minimal case, even though the grip and the kickstand on the back kind of ruin it. A tier. Spigen has a great lineup as well. First up, the Ultra Hybrid 01. This one has been a favorite of mine, so I was very curious to see how these cases are on other devices as well. It's a two-part design here, and on the front part, 4 support stickers. On the backplate, no stickers, and that's great. This is one of those cases where you don't really need the stickers for a secure fit. Now, on the back, you will of course find that unique design, but this time it features a little less of a 3D effect, as it comes across more like a general image than a partly transparent case. The case protects the hinge with its own hinge, which is spring-loaded, so it will always clamp back down, which is also great. And it also has that slight rounding to it, which feels exactly like the phone itself. The case feels grippy, and since there's protection on every side, you also feel at ease knowing it would be quite difficult to damage it. The front bumper is more than enough, and the case gets slightly thicker towards the camera bump, which is also a very unique touch and protects the lenses. Finally, it has a bump on the other side of the backplate to make it lay flat when it's folded in. A tier. Now there's the Ultra Hybrid without the 01 theme as well, and even though it's pretty much exactly the same, I wouldn't personally go for a full clear case, as all of those will have yellowing concerns later on. But it does look awesome. It's also grippier than the 01, but will get noticeably smudgier over time. Now, even though these tier lists are somewhat subjective, I cannot judge this one differently because I wouldn't go for a clear case myself. So this one still belongs in A tier. The Slim Armor has been my #1 overall pick for best case, so this wouldn't surprise anybody. Now, the Slim Armor has a similar design as far as the overall shape goes, meaning the camera bump looks very similar. It also features that same bump on the backplate, and it even has that same spring-loaded hinge protection. Here, they upgraded it with this rubbery textured material on there, which makes it very, very grippy. Sloped front bumper edges, which is great. It has about the same height as the Ultra Hybrids, but even those were more than enough. You can notice there's a difference in thickness though, as the sides are not higher but thicker. A little more bulky, if you will. But it still doesn't feel like a bulky case. It's like the perfect blend. On the inside of the case, you will also find that shock absorbing material, colored yellow, which you can sort of push in and feels bouncy. But then the fit, wow. This is probably the best fit I've ever seen so far for this phone. S tier. Then there's of course the Tough Armor. Didn't really like this one. For some reason I pretty much always dislike this case. But here it wasn't anything subjective at all. It's just not comfortable to hold. The hinge, which acts like a kickstand and an S-Pen holder, is just too thick and bulky, with an uncomfortable edge which sort of digs into your hand. It's also so big that with every slight touch it will open and close. The camera bump is also too tiny for its bulky appearance, so I'll put this one into E tier. Finally, they also have a case for the minimalists out there, the Air Skin, in aramid fiber. Not too fast though, since this case doesn't perform well. A very thin case with a bigger camera bump than the Tough Armor, which is still very funny to me. Personally, I don't dislike it, since on such a minimal case I would still like a good camera protection, but you have to agree that it just doesn't make sense. The case still has a lot of play, even when using the stickers, which is on dangerous level. And even on the sides there's also play. It does feature a little thicker piece on the front left, which is better in my opinion, but here it just doesn't really work out like intended. But then the least thought out aspect seems to be the cutout for the buttons, where there's zero slope towards the fingerprint sensor, making it very awkward and weird to use. It still works though, I can't say it doesn't, but it makes for an awkward experience. We got our first F tier. Supcase has the UB Pro and the UB Pro Mag. Very similar cases as far as the function and feel goes, but they do have some differences. For one, the backplate design is different. The UB Pro Mag has MagSafe, which is always nice, and the kickstand design is a little different, where with the UB Pro you can just pop out the kickstand and it looks like this. With the Mag version, it's the MagSafe ring, which has a second function. Now both work perfectly fine though, so there's really no difference. The MagSafe strength is very good, sometimes a little too good if you pull from the side where the button to pop the whole thing out is located, but it still works well. The best thing about this is the fact that it requires 0 stickers. It's all installed very easily and even comes with a front piece that includes a screen protector. It all comes together very nicely, looks great, feels comfortable, and the bigger hinge feels strong, so not flimsy at all like the Spigen Tough Armor. It's also very usable as a grip at the back too, which is one of its main selling points. Absolutely fantastic choice. S tier for both. Now, Supcase also has a sub-brand called iBlason. I've got on my hands on those too. Now, the funny thing is, the iBlason armor box is just like the UB Pro, with the exact kickstand and integrated screen protector. It's only the design on the back which is different, so these go straight to S tier. But to be honest, I don't know why they would make it so similar. I've also seen the Cosmo Pro, which also features the same design aspects with that hinge and the way you can use it as a grip, and a MagSafe kickstand with it. Now, I accidentally installed the clear version on the front and the smoke version at the back, so that's my bad. But the material is exactly the same. It makes squeaky sounds when you open it though, because that grippy material rubs up against it. Other than that though, it just works. But I wouldn't go as far as saying it feels as premium as the Armor Box, UB Pro or Pro Mag. I would give this one B tier. Pitaka only has one case available for the Fold 6, with multiple colors. The Mag Easy 5. To be completely honest, I didn't expect it to be only a backplate, since now the front is completely unprotected against everything basically. I know the front piece and especially that two-piece design with stickers isn't ideal, but I don't think getting only a backplate is the solution. For what it is though, it feels very premium, and as I mentioned in my Aramid fiber case video for the Fold 6, I would definitely choose this one if I only wanted a backplate to protect against scratches and maybe a tiny drop here and there. The camera bump looks awesome, and it really feels like an expensive case, which it is at $79.99. It's crazy expensive for just a backplate, but at least they deliver quality for that money. Oh, and it also has strong MagSafe, which for such a thin case is great. A tier. Benks has two instead of one. The Montage Armor Air is really unique, as it's the only case I've seen that only features a backplate with hinge. So here they went a step up from the backplate only, but still left the front piece out of the equation. And it works. I really like it actually. It features more protection, and because the hinge covers the corners of the left side, there is really only one side on which it can still fall to create damage. So the chances are decreased, and because of the lack of the front piece, it does feel exactly like holding a naked phone. There's just something about using a phone without a case. So if you want that for your Fold 6, this is where it's at. Good camera bump and complete cutout for the buttons, and the fit is great actually. Doesn't even need the sticker strip to be honest. Great choice for the brave ones out there too. S tier. They also have the Armor Air, which is the Mag Easy 5 equivalent. Features only a backplate and tries to maintain as sleek of a design as possible. The camera bump looks really nice here too, and you would think it's the same as the other thin Aramid fiber cases. Sadly though, the fit is just horrible. It just comes off too easily. And for a case that only features a backplate, that's just unacceptable. Therefore, I can talk a lot about this case, but it's all in vain, since I just cannot recommend it due to its fit. This case will 100% come off when dropping it. F tier. And then lastly, there is also a Thinborne for if you're into Aramid fiber / minimalist cases. First thing I noticed was that the fit is just amazing. So satisfying when you click it onto the Fold 6, and you will notice it holds very well too. It features a front piece as well, and it does have the usual stickers on there, but you can notice right away that the sticker quality is much better. There's still minor play when you move the case from side to side, even with the stickers used, but it's not something you would actually notice all that much. Now, they don't have a cutout or slope towards the fingerprint sensor, and at first I was like, damn, that's the only detail they missed. But if you use it, it's not that noticeable at all. It's just like you don't have a case on actually. So it doesn't need the slope or the extra cutout on the front piece. Now, zooming in on the camera bump, there's this tiny little piece on the side, which I thought was damage, but it's actually by design. I contacted the maker of the cases and he told me it's due to the microphone on the camera bump, which I didn't know even existed until then. One downside on this case is that the corners are a little sharp-ish. Not sharp, but pointy is a better word maybe. Not really much of an issue, since you will never grab it on the open side anyway, but I'm just throwing that out there. Front bumper is more than enough too, and it still feels minimal doing it. Oh, and finally, I said it doesn't feature MagSafe, and on my case I was right, but apparently they do have it. It was just my unit that didn't have it, and I'm not sure why. A tier. I also got to take a look at some cheaper options, like the Nillkin Frosted. And to be honest, you can definitely notice they're cheap too. The hinge makes all kinds of cracks and overall feels cheap in the hand. The front piece comes with the usual sticker strip, but it isn't enough to prevent it moving side to side. The fit is good enough though, and it isn't easily pushed off, so that's good. The hinge is just a little too small for it to be a comfortable grip at the back, but it's better than nothing. And it reminds me a little of the slim armor from Spigen, but without the grippy material to make it actually useful. The camera bump looks nice and it features more than enough protection. And the fingerprint sensor has more than enough room due to the sloped edges on both sides. It even features a grippy pattern on the sides for extra grip, which is useful. The back also has a texture on there to make it even grippier. And it features corner pieces to make those extra strong. But like I said, you can just feel it's a cheaper case. C tier. Second case from Nillkin is the Cam Shield, which is basically the same case but with a different texture on the back. A sliding camera protection plate and even a kickstand on the back. Other than that though, it's exactly the same case. The kickstand feels good but doesn't really function that well. The sliding camera plate works fine, but I just don't see the point. Sadly, something that's also the same is the fact that there's a lot of play when it comes to the fit of the backplate, and it still has the same squeaky hinge. C tier. Another one of those cheaper options, which don't get me wrong isn't the deciding factor at all, is Dux Ducis. Now this one looked very fancy with its design at the back, but doesn't really come through all that well with a wide Fold 6. But you can still see it and it looks great. Has a very unique piece that connects the two pieces, which also looked great. But then I installed the case and I noticed that the fit is just horrendous. When you fold this one open, you can almost slap the whole case off. But because it's softer of a material, it doesn't snap off. Still unacceptable for a case. And it just doesn't give me the assurance I need for the Fold 6. Sad to see it, because the camera bump is nice, the cutouts and the sloped edges towards the fingerprint scanner are nice, and it feels comfortable to hold. But if the fit is off, and especially with that plate too, it's just not good. E tier. Torras is a brand I always like to feature as well, because they usually have great options for a good price. Here though, they really missed. It's supposed to be a great solution for the slim S Pen. They made the front piece a little thicker and just made a spot for it there. And I mean, okay, that's fine. But it just ends up being very uncomfortable because you can't really grab the phone the way you're used to. You can see here just how much bigger the phone is with this case on. And that's not only for using it, holding it, but also putting it in your pockets, for example. And the only reason is storing the S Pen. Well, I'd rather go for the Samsung solution, where it's stored at the back and still is comfortable to hold. Along with these complaints, the fit isn't great either, because I can get it off pushing up against it, and not even using strength. Maybe some of you will like its design and more power to you, but I just cannot get over it. D tier. Zagg is here too, with the Bridgetown. This case made it to my top 5 as well. Made out of one piece, it's actually two, but they are attached in a unique way. This case is perfect. Only has 2 lines of stickers facing the hinge to stop a little bit of play that was there when moving this case side to side. It's also that premium sticker glue and not the touch it one time and it doesn't stick anymore type of sticker we're all used to see. But even without those, the fit is very satisfying. Clicks on there nicely so it won't need the stickers for a good fit at all, which is important. On the side we have a double texture to increase the grip, which I feel is more important on this phone than any other. It also features buttons and clicky ones at that. The cutout for the fingerprint sensor is still perfectly usable due to the slope from 2 sides of the case, and there's also enough room for it to work. Nice rounded corners, so no sharp edges at all. Good camera bump, which is deep enough to just throw your phone around without having to worry about scratches. And the front protection is also more than enough, and it even thought of the thicker backplate, which now gradually gets higher towards that piece if you fold it out completely, which is very satisfying. Great choice. S tier. And then last but not least, Otterbox. I got to take a look at the Defender XT and loved it. It's got a hinge of its own, which holds 2 pieces. This is one of the few cases where you can actually fold it out completely and snap the case around it like a normal phone. And oh boy, have I missed that with all these stickers. This one only has 1 sticker, which is justified. That's pretty much the only part where I want to see stickers, and if you don't use it, it's not a disaster either. Like most Otterbox Defender cases, it's pretty bulky, but to be honest, it's done in a way that's very comfortable. The hinge is flat, unlike the phone itself where it's rounded off a little. And so now the material in combination with the new shape makes it very grippy too. A pretty minimal camera bump as far as the height goes though, which is funny to see on a Defender case. It even features one of those rubber dust protectors for the USB-C port, which is actually really easy to pop out, unlike some other Defender XT cases I've seen in the past. When the phone is folded out, you can use the hinge on the case as a grip, which is awesome and really a feature you would want for this phone. More than enough protection on the front too, excellent height, but most importantly due to the sloped edges here too, where you can fully make use of the screen still. Great choice, and it's still among my favorites. S tier. They also have the Thin Flex. This case comes in 2 pieces with the usual stickers to support it. One on the thin part on the left side, most have that actually, one thicker on the other side, and a few support stickers. On the backplate, they have only support ones. 4 of them to be exact. Now, it's not like the case's fit is bad, not at all. It's just that the corners are easily detached, which could be good in a situation where you would want to get it off easily, but since it's full of stickers, that's probably not going to happen, making it an issue. As far as the comfort goes, it could use some help here too. The edges on both plates are a little sharp, not rough, but just not comfortable either. The camera bump is perfect, with a tiny ring around it, which causes only a tiny amount of wobble on the table. The buttons are very clicky, so that's awesome to see. And as you can see, it made a slope towards the fingerprint sensor on both sides, making it very easy to comfortably use the fingerprint scanner as well. But I'm a little conflicted as far as the rating goes, so I guess I'm going to have to put it in D tier. And that's a wrap. Do you agree with my choices? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more content for the Fold 6, make sure you watch my other videos as well, and I'll hope to see you there.